everybody. We got a new tripod. We are now in Disney.
Like you're on YouTube.
What? I'm not on YouTube.
No, it looks like it.
Morning. Do you also go blonder?
Do I need my booklet?
Changes all our looks, and it's amazing.
Do I need
Is
my
this sun? No, that's not the sun. Yeah. Don't joke from me.
Do we need booklets?
What?
Do I need my booklet or you?
We're gonna get there one second. Okay.
Definitely makes me happier.
Alright guys, this is what we're gonna do today. Today we are going to do a little bit of breakthrough and a little bit of love. Okay?
That's fun.
Tell me for a second where we're up to in breakthrough. We did class 4.
We ended with that we break the vessels that are for shofar.
Wait, so let's see your notes for a sec. Hold on.
Not extensive. But yeah, good.
Yeah, this is class, right, we're up to class 5. Okay. So we are up to class 5. Class 5 is my favorite part of the breakthrough. Before we get to class 5, first of all, are you so happy that you guys got back in the country before they shut everyone out again?
Not all of us are back. That was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
They stopped
Crazy.
I didn't know they were literally doing
You guys were very, very gutsy for leaving in the first place. And I was like, we're all not going to get back in. They're not coming. They're not
I
coming
know.
back in. And then you all came back.
so easily.
So easily.
Yeah, it's literally easier than
Everyone's like, yeah,
so
so easy.
back, never got canceled, never got pushed off. Like
Yeah,
I
the way
left
that
my
was
mental
so
even just got right back in.
Look at that.
Which
Like
is
normal.
weird. Like getting out was like scary.
I feel like I'm like
I mean, I was staying, so-
Wow.
Like,
Listen, you really have Malachim standing at your side because it's not even a given that people get to go to Israel, let alone during Corona, let alone during
it
this
was
hard
harder to
time.
leave the country.
No,
than
we
to
have
get back
scary
in.
stories
For
of
sure.
us going home.
But why
Going
would-
back was easy.
Going home was
Going home was a little
Going home was traumatic.
You see what kind of trauma Hashem put you through?
No.
He says, next time you want to leave Israel, remember, PTSD around the corner.
Oh, it was so
I called
bad.
my
I know, I
parents
was
and
sitting.
it was so
I ran 4 hours
Never
to
doing
bring
that.
to the airport. I don't even exactly. I still got served. That was so traumatic.
And I called my parents crying and I was like, I'm gonna have to stay for these soldiers. No, they kept canceling my flight and there was no flights available.
Like,
Wow.
I'm just so annoyed about having to go home with that. Like, I have to
Wow.
go home with that.
I don't know what to do.
Okay, so here, let us start our class because we don't have so much time left together, my friends. And we are going to begin. You ready? Are you ready? Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you be a little bit more ruach dik? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yofi, Yofi, good. That makes me happy. So here we go. Let's begin. Wow. Listen. Okay, we're gonna start a little bit with breakthrough. Take out your sheets. Do you have them? Please have them. It's the only thing we've been learning all year, so you better have them. Take out your sheets. Did you
Please
get
have
class
them.
5? Did you get class 5?
I don't think we did.
I sent it to your WhatsApp, you guys. You have WhatsApp here? Your phones are working?
More or less, thank God.
No working.
But like,
Okay.
yeah.
We're not going to print them now. We're going to print them for next time. What we're doing right now, what we're doing today. Okay. What we're doing now is we're going to talk about this idea of we're going to talk about 2 things, okay? 2 main central themes that we're going to have to put under our belt. This is something that, it's funny because when I video these classes, later people write to me, that watch it on Facebook or wherever, they write to me, these girls are so lucky that they get to learn this stuff in seminary. Because really, 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 we are getting closer to Mashiach. No one ever, when I was in seminary, which wasn't such a long time ago, I'm not so ancient at all, I'm young. There was no talk about these things. There was just no concept of your thoughts really guiding your life and how the way you think about anything, about yourself, about your future, about your present, literally propels that thing. It literally feeds and fuels the thing that you're thinking about. No one spoke about this stuff. Everything that we learned was more, we had to get lessons from it. We had to figure out how this applies to us. But this stuff that we're learning together, Rabbi Nachman's work, is work of Yemos Mashiach. It is work, it's Geula work. It's Geula work. And the reason for that is like this. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. Yesterday I was in Cyprus. And
Really?
Cyprus.
You go to Cyprus now?
So now you can go to Cyprus. Yes. So they opened up, we went on the first El Al
What is
flight.
Cyprus?
40-minute flight from here.
Oh, it's like not in New
40
Zealand.
minutes?
40 minutes. Yeah. 40-minute flight.
It's 40 minutes?
40-minute flight.
Are they expensive?
Just put it out there, it is 40 minutes.
Can you drive there?
No.
Oh my gosh.
You have to go on a boat. So yesterday, hi Regina, good morning. So yesterday, I was, what?
You're on Zoom.
What?
You're on Zoom.
I'm on Facebook.
Guys, let's go for option.
I don't know them.
Girls, if you want to go to Cyprus,
Wait, what do you
talk
need
to
to
me
get back
afterwards,
in?
okay? Talk to me afterwards. I'll give you all the deets. So, yesterday I'm in Cyprus. I was there since Thursday. Yesterday was our flight. Now, we were on the first El Al flight that opened up to Cyprus since after Corona, okay? So, we went on Thursday, Friday, Shabbos, Sunday. Sunday, we're in the airport on the way back. Now, the way it was that we went through security, right? And then you have to go through, like, to get checked. Like, your bags get checked. You do check-in and then security.
Yeah.
So we did check-in. So it's 2 hours before the flight. It's a 40-minute flight. Like, we're just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do the airport for so long? We don't have any baggage to check in. We just have a little bag. And so we get to the security part. You know how they line it up like this? Right, in the airport, and everyone waits in line to go through the metal detectors. So we're waiting. Everyone's waiting. Everyone is Israeli. There are about, I would say about 60, 70, 80 people in line. So I think it's 70, 80 people in line, okay, waiting to go through the metal. Now, they have 3 of these metal detectors. One of them is working with a crew, people that are checking you. The other 3 are closed. So there are 4, and the other 3 are closed. So it's one line. Anyway, we're waiting, I'm talking to my friend, everyone's talking, everyone's whatever, and time's going by, lots of time's going by. I'm in line for like 40 minutes, nothing is moving. Like a little inching moving forward. People are starting to get hot because there's no air conditioner in the room, and people are starting to get upset. And all of a sudden I hear over the loudspeaker, I hear them saying, allow flight, da-da-da, it's our flight. All passengers come to the gate right now, come to the gate immediately, right? So I told my friend, I'll be back in a second. Let me just go ask the lady that's letting the people through the metal detectors. Let me just go ask her, if that was our flight, and if so, if we get priority to go through the machine first. I said, okay. So anyway, I went through the line. As I'm going through the line, and I walk up to this lady, a trail of people come with me. Okay, a trail of people from the line come with me. And then all of a sudden, this major outburst happened in the line. Hey, what are you doing? What are you cutting the line? Where are you going? We're all the same flight. Oh, everyone starts fighting. Okay? So I went up to the lady and asked her. She didn't know what I was talking about. She didn't understand English. I didn't know what language she spoke. And she's like, no, go back. Okay. So I'm trying to get back to where my friend is, but I can't because everyone's like screaming at each other. You're cutting the line. You're cutting the line. Excuse me. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Okay? So I can't get back into my friend, so I stand on the side. I'm standing on the side, and I'm thinking, okay, once my friend gets to me, then we'll go through together. I don't want to go back because I was scared. I was kind of scared to go back, so people are gonna be like, you're cutting the line. Anyway, girls, make a long story short. The police came. The police of Cyprus came. Okay. People were literally like on top of each other, screaming at each other. People were holding each other back from fighting, from guys from wrestling and fighting. The lady that was letting people through with the metal detector, she was, I don't know, maybe perhaps deaf and blind because she was like in her own next, and people were like ripping each other's hair out on the side. And here we have the animals.
Everyone's worst.
Please move along. Nothing to see here.
Why were you going to Cyprus?
What?
Why were you going to Cyprus?
You want to know my business? I'll talk to you afterwards. So, anyway, girls, you know this. You know I suffer from ADD, so you cannot talk while I'm talking because then I forget. So, in the end, what happened was that the police came and there was like a whole thing, and they ended up telling Allah, because Allah started saying, at a certain point, Allah started saying, the gate is closed in 5 minutes. All passengers to Tel Aviv, the gate is closed in 5 minutes. And we're like nowhere near the metal detector. Okay, so when they announced that, all of a sudden it was like a mass exodus. Like everybody started pushing towards the metal detector. Anyway,
Cyprus is in Israel.
Cyprus is not in Israel. Cyprus is 40 minute flight from here, not in Israel. And I started getting very nervous because I started feeling like, oh my God, I feel like this is a microcosm what we're looking at right now. Because I was standing in the front and the side, so I saw like, you know, how people weren't judging other people favorably. Because this guy was just going to the side because he wanted to make a phone call. This guy had an issue that he's old and he can't stand in line and he has to go through the gate first because he really is very, very old and his daughter is with him. And this guy, and I saw everyone like doing okay. Okay, not trying to elbow their way through. I didn't see people like that. But other people, when they saw someone just coming from the side, they were like screaming at him, "Why are you cutting the line?" And I started like trying to explain to them, no, he has an issue and stop, whatever. Why does his daughter have to go with him? She's not sick, he's sick. Why does she have, I'm like, he's like 95 years old. She needs to be with him. Right? And I'm trying to no one's understanding what's going on with the other person. And everyone's judging each other non-favorably. And it started to become like a crazy situation of hatred and like anger. And I felt like I was literally looking at a microcosm of Klal Yisrael, because we are all, every single one of us is so like good and kind and wonderful and loving and has a good neshama and wants to do the right thing, but we all have different brains and we all translate life differently and the situations that we're in differently. And the hardest part about yesterday was seeing how this person was good, and this person was good, and this person was fine, this person was standing on the side, not pushing, and this person wasn't fighting. And then the other person looked at him and jumped to conclusions, right? And the other person that's also good and also nice and also fine jumped to conclusions and was not down the kafschus. Right? Was not down the kafschus at all. It wasn't like, oh, maybe he was just that. No, he's like, you're pushing. You're trying to cut in line. Wait your turn. He's not. And I felt like, and then on the plane, don't ask what happened on the plane, and there was tons of fighting on the plane.
This sounds so hectic. Guys, we shouldn't go to Cyprus.
No, it wasn't Cyprus. It was the people that got nervous from all of that. What happened on the plane was that people came onto the plane, and then what happened in the terminal continued on the plane, and there were people like literally holding each other back from like the two guys that were
sitting in a seat
trying to. Don't ask. It was mayhem, and I started screaming. Stop it! Die! Because I couldn't handle it. It was so much. Everyone was on top of me, screaming and fighting, and
it's like a family, but like you're just.
Anyway, what's the point of the story?
People.
The point of the story.
So they're like a car ride with my family.
The point of the story, girls, is that.
Except it's not.
The point of the story is like this. There were some people there that later I went up to and I said, like, what's your secret? How did you do that? How do you do that? That were being yelled at, older people, that were being yelled at, and they stayed quiet. They didn't respond. There were two people like that, two couples like that. And everybody else was very responsive and very putting everyone else in their place and whatever it is. And what I saw was, what I learned from that experience was, oh my gosh, you can't know what the other person is ever doing, ever thinking, where they're coming from, what their kavana is, if they're doing something bad or if they're doing something that you can't know. Because literally, we're always looking at the other person and we're literally starting from the middle of the book. You can't know when you open up a book in half, when you open up a book to its center, you can't really know what's going on in the story. You can try to guess. You could try to maybe put together some ideas of what's happening to the main character and why they're responding this way or why they're whatever. Right? But you can't ever know until you read the whole book from beginning to end. And that's why it says, because you'll never get to where he is. You never know where his cheshbonos are coming from. No, the guy didn't cut in line. He was going to the bathroom. Relax. And what if he did go through the metal detector with his daughter and she's not sick, but he's sick? So what? What? Why is this so important? Because this is where all of our problems come from. All of our problems come from thinking that that I know why you're doing the things that you're doing. Why you didn't call me before you went out to ice cream with our other group of friends. Why you took something without my permission. Why, whatever it is, we have a mitzvah Deoraisa, to see somebody doing an Avera, literally an Avera. You see someone doing an Avera, you see them it's in front of your face. They are doing an Avera, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, it's happening. You have a mitzvah to translate that to not be an Avera.
What if it affects you?
Where the kavana is, why they're really doing it. You have to come up with some crazy story as to why this is happening. You know why? Because no matter how much you're going to think that you know what's happening in the situation, in the scenario, you know nothing. We know nothing.
What if it affects you?
1 second, for sure. 100% if it affects you. 1 second, we're going to get to that. That's point number one. Point number one is you got to know that where she's coming from, her bad mood, her being sad, her not talking to you, this person not inviting you, this thing happening in your life. You have to know, girls, please stop talking. You have to know that you have no concept as to what's really going on. Everybody there was under the assumption that they knew, and seeing that, I felt like I got a wake-up call from that experience for myself. Because what makes me think that I know anything about you? What makes me think that I get her, I know her, I already put her in a box, I already put a title on her, she's this way, she's that, she's shy, she's intimidating, she's a snob, she's stingy, what makes me think I can put you people, into categories and say, I figured her out. I got it. You know what it is? It's my ego. Bless you. It's my ego. It's my ego. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's my ego that makes me think that I can get. We don't know anything about anyone's life, where they're coming from, how their emotions are wired, based on the experiences that they had, based on how they grew up, based on the stuff that they went through in their life, their parents, their genetics, everything. We don't know. That's why it says, you know why? Because you'll never get to his place. You'll never walk his shoes, ever. No matter how much you try, no matter how much you live with the person, you could be your BFF, your husband, your sister, you could be anyone in your life. You can never get into their shoes, just like no one can be in your shoes. And no one knows what your triggers are. And no one knows how you're wired. And no one knows what you're doing something you don't really mean to hurt anyone. You just need to do this. You didn't mean to hurt anyone. And everyone assumes that you did it if you hurt someone. Or you did it on purpose.
Are you just like letting them get away with whatever it is?
So hang on. So that's point number one. Point number one is, girls, you can step outside and go speak. I have no problem with your in class. Just go. Khalas. Khalas is Arabic for...
Sorry.
What? What's it Arabic for? Khalas. Khalas. You have not gotten to the shuk yet? Khalas. Oh wow, girls. Khalas is enough in Arabic. Say it.
Khalas?
Khalas. Good.
Khalas.
Yeah.
Wait, were your kids with you at the airport?
No, my kids were not there, thank God.
Dramatic.
Yeah, pretty dramatic. So, here we go. So that's point number one. Point number two is, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just let people offend me and I just do nothing?
Yeah.
We don't need to
I
let
love
people
you.
affect you.
Well, sometimes it's not something you can avoid.
Well, most of the time it probably is. If you get in the right mindset and say, hey, actually, this doesn't need to bother me.
Yeah, but
Why is someone else's actions affecting me? If it's not really directly tied.
Okay, so let's say it is directly tied.
for some there are.
Well, then, like, if someone's targeting you, then yeah, you'd be offended. But like, let's say someone's, I don't know.
Like,
Like-
you can choose how you're gonna agree with. You could choose how it will affect you.
Yeah, and
Of course you can choose how.
You
push
can let
it
it
away.
get to your head, or you can just be the bigger
Move
person
on,
and
let
let
it
it
go.
go.
Yeah, and say, is this person's actions and the fact that it's constant really actually affecting me? Or is this, is someone doing something on the couch? Oh, like, I don't know, random
Don't talk
things,
about
but like somehow bother people. Like, you just need to push it away. And like, it's hard, but like, if you actively work on it, it really, really works.
Okay, good.
We're talking about
Question?
different things.
Here's the thing, girls. When someone does something that annoys you, you have to know that it's... Okay, there's two things happening. Number one, Hashem sent this person to annoy you. Why?
So you can be the bigger person in the scenario.
So how does growth happen?
Challenge
How do you make a fire?
Flint.
Why don't you burn it?
You
Create a spark.
How do you-
Cross.
rub two sticks together, create a spark, and that's how you create a fire, right? Friction. Yofi. Friction is our word of the day. Here we go. Okay, this is really, 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 really crucial. Friction. Write it down. Through friction, growth takes place. Only through friction. Okay? You are living in La La Land if you're thinking that the man that's going to come into your life is only going to be roses and unicorns and marshmallows. Okay? Because that's only and always the first phase of the relationship. Right? That's only and always the first phase of the relationship, where there's an infatuation in the beginning. And what happens when the relationship moves out of the infatuation stage to the stage where you already know each other? What happens then? What happens then? What starts? You don't know.
Friction.
You've never been there. Friction. All of a sudden, what is like the number one complaint? Mouthwash. He doesn't, or toothpaste. He doesn't cover the toothpaste. He leaves his toothbrush like this. Ugh, he leaves his underwear on the floor. Ugh. He doesn't. Right. Because it's exactly how it's supposed to be. The idea is that when there's friction, what is it rubbing against? He's lying on the couch with his feet up. You get, where's that rubbing against? What's the friction? Exactly, my ego. Why should he lie on the couch and I be cleaning up? Right? And that's very, very human, typical, the way we're created, ego, id, the yetzer, the me, the I need to have also, where's mine? Right? That's very, very, very human instinct. God put us on this world, gave us our closest relationships, the people, the things that you love most. Remember this for the rest of your life, girls. The thing that you will love most about your best friend, about your neighbor, about your husband, the thing that you will fall in love with, the midah, the attribute, that is the same midah that's going to make you crazy.
How?
I'll tell you how. He is, let's say he's very charismatic, very loving. He sees people, he loves them, he gives to them, he does for them. He's like that. That's what you love about him. You love that he walks around the world like that. You love that he cares. You love that he has such a big soul. You love that he goes out of his way. You love that he's not that kind of person. He sees you the same way and he does for you. All of it. You love it. That's what you fall in love with. That's the attribute that you want. That's what you want in a husband. You marry it. Guess what? That same attribute, that same nature, that same soul, kind of giving and loving and all of that bigness, okay, will translate in other areas of your life that are going to really, really annoy you. Excuse me. How is it possible that you gave away so much money? Why are you always nice to this friend that's not always nice back to you? Right? Like, look, the way they're treating you, you need to also have your boundaries. Why are you giving to them so much when they're not giving back to us? Right? Or, for example, a person like that, let's say they talk and let's say they talk too much and they embarrass you in front of people and they say things that they shouldn't say. And they let you, they tell people things that you tell them in private, not realizing that it's private for you. It's the same characteristic that you love so much that has two sides. Understand? It has two sides. So how does it work? It works like this. So you meet someone, you really pick out the needle from the haystack. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a guy. It could be with friends and family and parents or whatever it is. And you see the good and you love the good and you connect to the good, but you have to know that the parts of them, the same part is going to rub you somewhere in your ego in the wrong way. God did that on purpose. He set it up this way. He makes us attracted to the people that are going to help us become our better selves, our best selves. And so it's very, very easy to get lost there and say, oh my God, there's so many issues now because look, I thought he was, or I thought she was, but now all of these things are coming up and it's so hard to be around. We're always fighting and it's so difficult and they don't see me and I don't feel seen. Okay? And what's the idea? The idea is like this. Without friction, there's nothing. There's no growth. There's no involvement. And it has to happen that way. There has to be a time when your roommate walks in and turns on the light. Because that's your area of growth. Where in your head, instead of going down the path of, oh my gosh, she's so selfish. Okay? Instead of going down to, something's happening over here. Your roommate?
Yeah.
Do you love each other?
Yeah.
Good. So instead of, Baruch Hashem, Instead of experiencing married girls, we have to graduate. You know what I'm saying? We need to graduate to the next level, where normally people think like bad things that people do to me are
Personal.
not fair, are personal, are not okay. And then what do? I either take revenge, or I yell at them, or I cold shoulder them, or I take a step back from them, or whatever. That's my tactic. That's how people normally act. Someone does something bad to you or selfish to you, and your reaction is, you know what? Or get up in their face and get confrontational, or take a step back and ignore them.
It doesn't have to be like that. You could communicate and put your ego down and
Yofi.
well, you could just walk away. You just pretend that like,
No, but if you-
why is everything about you? Why is someone else's action
but baby,
bothering you
if-
so much? You think it's about you?
So listen, you're sleeping, and your roommate walks in and turns on the light. What's the first thought that comes to mind?
I'm sleeping.
What?
That's annoying.
That's annoying. Right, that's friction. Right? Because you could look at her and say, what's wrong with you? You don't see me? Hello? Right? So, but really, Hashem walked into the room and turned on the light. Why? Really?
She's a piece of Hashem.
Walked and turned on the light. Why? What's the test there? What's happening there? What's the friction that's going on there?
Communication. Maybe.
Yofi. How am I going to handle this? Normally, the normal mind goes to a place of, oh my gosh, she's so annoying, she's so selfish, all she thinks about is herself. That's normal. That's human, that's normal. And now, we're made to go above human, above normal. Why above normal, above human? Because that's how we're going to get the most out of our life. Why I understand that this is an opportunity for me to say, no, there is no girl walking into and turning on the light. It's not a matter of being selfish and only thinking about herself and whatever. It has nothing to do with her. She's not even here. To that extent. She's not even here. It has to do with me translating the situation in another way. This is Breakthrough 101. We have the ability to translate whatever it is that we're experiencing in our life more than one way. The average way, the regular way, the way you watch it in the movies, the way you see it online is human basic instinct. Knee-jerk reaction. You bite me, I'll bite you. You burn me, I'll burn you. That's normal. Yetzer lev adam ra min ne'orav. We're born with that kind of heart. From when we're little, selfish, grabbing, I want, me, me, me. That's how Hashem programmed us. And then for the rest of our life, the avoda is to step out of the me, to step out of the ego, to step out of the id, to step out of the I. Otherwise, right, the nature of our relationship says everything about our internal midos. If we're in good relationships, if we have loving relationships, that means that we're working on ourselves, we're working on understanding other people. It's not always my way or the highway. It's not always that I'm not seen. It's also that when I am able to see someone else, even though I don't feel like they see me, take the higher ground. So people will say, what? Just like let people walk all over you? Just like let people step on you? So there's the Me'or Einayim writes something incredible. He writes it on the Gemara by where it says that a person has to make themselves a ma'akeh on their gag. Right? He says that a person, there's a mitzvah that you have to, if you build a home, you have to have a ma'akeh. You have to have a gate. You can't leave it open because it's a karas nefashos. And it's a mitzvah. You have to have a ma'akeh on your gag. So the Me'or Einayim writes over there. He says something beautiful. He says that we say twice a day, that my soul should be like the earth to everyone. What is the earth? What is the earth? Earth is what we step on, we lie on, we walk on, we spit on. That's earth. And what does earth do in response?
Gives us food.
Fruits, vegetables, diamonds, gold,
Our nature.
oil, water, constant wheat, legumes, constantly giving back. And yet, the earth gets stepped on and stepped on and stepped on and walked on. And we say this twice a day. I'm asking for this. I'm asking that my neshama should be like the afal, should be like the earth. That people step on me, let's say, or people rub against my ego, or there's friction with people, or people don't see me. Instead of stepping up for myself and saying, hey, you better see me, otherwise you're going to lose me, or I'll show you. or I'm going to disconnect from you, not speak to you for 20 years.
Wait.
Instead of that, one second. I ask God, I want to be a giver. I want to be a giver regardless of where the other people are, where they're holding, what they're doing, I want to be a giver. Just because somebody steps on you, okay? What I mean steps on you, like this example of walking into the room and not being sensitive enough to not turn on the light and be quiet. Just because you feel stepped on, you feel like this person's not seeing you, doesn't mean that you need to fall to their level and take revenge or be angry or speak lashon hara behind their back. It's to take the higher ground, no pun intended, and be like the ground. Which is, they walk in and turn on the light, you walk in and don't turn on the light. You walk in and don't make noise. Because you're the earth. You're the one that, even though you're getting stepped on, and there's friction, and there's someone up in your face, and it's hurting you, it's still, one second, I'm not saying I'm not communicating. I'm not saying communication is key. You have to communicate. You have to communicate. But there's a way to communicate also. Because oftentimes, what happened yesterday in the airport was, you cut me off, no, you cut me off, you get it back on, you get it back on, right? There was all this, everyone's with their ego. Ego, friction against another ego, is fire, is machlokas, is chorban. That's exactly why we lost the Beis Hamikdash. Ego against ego, nothing happens from it. It's, you respect me, and the other person says, no, you respect me. You do what I say, and the other person says, no, you do what I say. We're not going to get anywhere. Only to chorban. Only to fire. But I'm right. Doesn't matter if you're right. Doesn't matter if you're right. You want to be happy, or you want to be right. You have to learn how to communicate with these people.
Being right makes you happy.
Being right makes you happy.
No, being
For
right
like the
makes
first
you
5
sad.
seconds,
You're
and
like,
then you
What are you saying about the
You can
gate?
be right and alone for the rest of your life. But you're right. They did take the money and they did walk in and they were not sensitive. You want to be alone? Or you want to be happy? Which means everybody screws up. Everybody has an ego. Everybody sees themselves first. Question is, where are you going to be in reaction to that? Are you going to be on the same path with them? In the same reaction? Knee-jerk reaction versus knee-jerk reaction? Everyone's just reacting? Take the high road. Take the high ground. That's the idea. That's exactly what the Moranai is telling us. You be the earth. You be the earth. You be centered. You be the earth. Just because everybody around you is dealing with their midos and their ego and their stuff doesn't mean that you need to join the crowd.
Were you saying about the gate that we should have boundaries?
The what?
You mentioned the
There's no air here, guys. Can you turn on the fan?
airs.
You want water?
No, I just want air.
The airs.
Water.
No, good. Thank you. Yeah.
Just were you saying that you said something about a house has to have a gate, but then you didn't mention anything after that? Is that meaning like you have to have boundaries?
Good. Very good. Good. Thank you for grounding me. So he says that. So the question is that what's with the house and the gate? The house and the gate is that this is Gag. Gag comes from the word Gag, and Hegegim have the same shorish. It's that same Gag, Gimel Gimel. What's Hegegim? Hegegim are machshavot. Hegegim, that's why it says Nechemet Gog uMagog, which is the same shorish there. Nechemet Gog uMagog, the Gemara says, is going to be a milchama, the Zohar says, it's going to be a milchama of thoughts. It's going to be a war on thoughts. That's Nechemet Gog uMagog. Nobody's going to know what to think. Nobody's going to know what's real. No one's going to know what's true. People are not going to know who to trust, who to depend on, who's saying the truth and who's not saying the truth. That is Milchamet Gog uMagog, milchama shel Hegegim, milchamet Hegegim. It's going to be a war of thoughts. It's not going to be a war of guns and bullets. It's going to be a war of thoughts. No one's going to know. And then it says in the end of that Torah, it says over there, that everyone's going to go here and go there. And no one's going to know who to trust and who to believe and what to do. And then we're all going to come to a situation where we're going to say, we're going to look up to the sky, we're going to say we have no leaders, we don't know who to trust, we don't know what to do, we don't know where to go, we don't know who to turn to. That's what Chazal is going to say at the end of days. That's what we're going to say. We're going to get to a point where we really have no one besides for God. And that's how we feel in our hearts. In our hearts. To that extent. So the Moranai says like this. He says, what did you say?
I said the second house is in the back.
So he says, so put a ma'akeh around your Gag, around your Hegegim, around your thoughts. Meaning a person needs to create the boundaries in their own personal, internal world in order to be able to get the max out of their life, out of their relationships. To know how to have relationships, it's what's the word I'm looking for?
Skill.
It's beyond a skill.
It's a talent.
It's a talent that you have to understand that as long as you stand firmly on your ground, then you need to be your way, and you're not able to see what the other person is saying or where they're coming from or what they meant, and maybe how to make this work. The more we stand on our ground, you could be Shomer Torah, Shomer Mitzvahs, keeping Shabbos, Tznius, Kashrus, Tegiah, all of it, all the mitzvahs. If Bein Adam Chavero, you have no problem judging another person unfavorably, speaking about another person, putting them down, hating them, all of those things. We're lost, we're gone, we're far. Person could be literally the biggest, dos. So from. If he's not able to tell the other guy that if he sees the other guy elbowing him and he starts elbowing him back, he's missing the point. The guy that's elbowing him, that's his friction. And in that moment of being elbowed, all he has to say is, thank you, Hashem. Sure, you want to go ahead of me? Sure, go ahead. No problem. Have a good day. Have a good day. Right? Even though your insides are like, that's where the work happens. That's where the magic happens, because then you evolve and all of a sudden you realize that you can be friends with anything and anyone, and you can go anywhere in the world and people will love you, and you will love mankind, and you will love humanity. It's going to come from your heart. It's not going to just come from, it's the right thing to do and I should go and do chesed. No! It can come from your heart. You're cultivating your heart. You're moving yourself from a heart of Evan to a heart of Basal, to a flesh heart, and that's our job, girls. That's the job of our life. That's the job of our life. It's going to happen to you when you're married. It's going to happen to you with your mother-in-law. It's going to happen to you with your kids. It's going to happen to you at work. It's going to happen to you wherever you go for the rest of your life. And Sem, after Sem, with roommates, not with roommates, it's going to happen to you everywhere. And unless people understand that these are opportunities for growth, and friction is what happens to me when God is trying to get rid of my ego and break my ego. He sends me this one, he sends me that one. He's trying to break my ego. Break it, because once we get out of our ego, we're free. We're free to love. We'll be real lovers. We'll be real givers. We'll fly on life. Because the ego keeps me stuck in me, but no one sees me. But no one gave to me. No one gave to me. I'm not giving. They didn't come to my, party, so I'm not going to go to theirs. Take the high ground. We don't have to be like other people. We want to be on another level. We want to go. We have a place we're going. And so that's point number one. That's really something that's really, really, really crucial to know in relationships, moving forward in life. You have to know, cultivating this area of your life, cultivating how to work with people, how to be with people, how to love people, how to allow people. All of these things are ABCs of Avodas Hashem. ABCs of Avodas Hashem. That's why Yom Kippur Hashem says, you can do a whole Yom Kippur, you can go to the mikveh every Yom Kippur, you can come, you can do the whole thing, you could fast and cry and vidor and all of it. But mommy, I can't forgive you for walking in on her when she was sleeping and stealing her sleep. I can't. It's not my area. And everything, what we see, I think that the thing that I learned the most from, funny that I never ever spoke about this, but I think the thing I learned the most from going as a little girl and standing on Eastern Parkway and not having a clue as to who this man is or why he's giving me $1, and what any of these people are, because I didn't know anything, like seriously secular to like the max. Okay, so nothing at that point, at that time, I didn't know anything. But meeting the Rebbe, and getting $1 from him, and standing in front of him, and seeing my family, my parents, and my sisters, and everyone, all the whole interaction, and being there, and then learning about him later in life when I became religious, and then finding out like what he did with his life. You can't fake that. You can't filter fish your way to that. You can't keep Shabbos on your way to that. You can't. That's a vote. That's breaking ego, 24/7 breaking ego. So you know what Navardik used to do? Navardik used to take, it was a derech, a machshava, a way of learning in Lithuania. I think it was in Lithuania. And they used to go to stores and ask the storekeeper to give them something that had nothing to do with what the guy was selling. So let's say the guy was selling fruits and vegetables, they would go and they would ask him for nails and bolts. And he would walk in and say, "Hi, can I get some nails and bolts?" And the guy would be like, "Wait, like, nails and bolts, I need to build something." Like, this is the vegetable store. "Oh, I'm so sorry." They would go on purpose. The Chofetz Chaim, there's a what's it called? Excuse me, my Hebrew and my English. And then only Shar. I don't have one language. I have Hebrewish. That's what. If you all spoke Hebrew, it would be the perfect combination. Combination of both languages. But there's something written on the Chofetz Chaim that he ran in the streets of Radin screaming, "Somebody embarrass me! Somebody embarrass me!" It's been a week. I haven't been embarrassed in a week. They were looking for opportunities for people to embarrass them. They were going actively for have someone to embarrass them. To say, "What are you doing in my store?" That's no what? Weirdo. Strange. They were looking for opportunities like that to break the ego, for someone to elbow them, for someone to turn on the lights on them, for someone not to invite them. They were looking for those things.
If everyone is being
That is the only way to break this thing, and this thing is the only thing that's in your way. It's the only thing that's in your way. It's the only thing that's in our way. From having incredible relationships, making a huge dent on this world, bringing Klal Yisrael together, bringing Mashiach. It's the only thing that's holding us back. Though, what about me? What were you just saying?
No, I was just picturing a world where everyone is being done with first. It's really cool. That'd be really cool.
Incredible. And you know what, I want to tell you something? When we got to the front of the line, Al announced that they're pushing the flight back and that we have more time to get through, and people were still fighting. And this lady was standing next to me, secular Israeli lady. She was standing next to me. She was so nervous. There was a lot of nerves flying, tons. She was so nervous. And I looked at her and she said, "Yeah, this is crazy and all that." I said, "It's okay. We're getting on the flight. They said they pushed it back. Let's just be b'simcha." Like that. And she loved that. You know what I mean? She's putting on her shoes. "Let's be b'simcha. Let's be b'simcha." I love it. You know what? You religious people, she said, you religious people, you have emunah. And because you have emunah, everything is chill. Everybody else is sweating and their hearts are pumping, they're fighting, they're hitting each other, like screaming at each other. Don't ask what was going on there. Okay? And when you have emunah, you're like Pesach cleaning today. What's going on with you? When you have emunah, you understand. You can understand. If you catch yourself, yeah, at the right time, you understand, "Oh my God, Hashem just put us in this scenario, just like He put us in this thing to make us all connected. It's either to connect us or to pull us apart. The ego wants to pull apart. You don't see me. Right? If I would take all of that passion and all of that energy of why doesn't this person see me? Why don't they care enough about me to call me? Why don't they care enough about me to come visit me when I'm sick? Why don't they care enough about me? If I would put all of that energy into where am I going to help? Where am I going to spread my smile? Where am I going to help somebody cross the street? What can I do to make another person's day better? A little better. Where can I spread my love? Where can I give my love? Where can I give it? If I was to put my focus on that, I promise you, girls, you don't have to stand on your ground firmly anymore and demand to be seen and demand to be loved. It'll come pouring into your life. When your focus is on another, when your focus is making the world into a brighter place, naturally Hashem will be mesaviv it. He will turn it in a way that chesed will come to you. And love will come to you. Instead of going after it and demanding it, it'll come to you. You be the earth. You be the giver. You give, even if they step on you. And I'm not telling you right now, when I say step on you, that could be translated bad. Okay? It could be translated bad. I'm not talking about abusive relationships. I'm not talking about narcissistic, like psychopaths. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about normal people. And everybody makes mistakes. How you translate it will elevate your level. You will bust out of ego areas. You're going to come to a place where you're so much more connected to yourself, and so much more of a magnet for love and for connection and for good relationships. It's everything in life to navigate good relationships, to know how to do it. To know how to build them, to know how to understand another person even if they're being nasty right now, to know how to be patient, To know how to see them when, even though they're pushing you away because of their own issues. And that is really the idea behind all of the things that we've been learning all year, is to understand that your thoughts are your seeds, and those seeds will grow. They will grow into your garden, which is your life, and that's what you're going to get. So your thoughts translate the situation differently. Translate the situation differently. Even if you have to make up a whole weird story that makes no sense, Rabbi Nachman says, do it anyway. Makes no sense at all. Nothing that you think about there's no way to translate it. It is what it is. I see them stealing the money. They went and I saw them stealing the money. I saw them coming out. Now you have to make it, you have to translate it differently. Why? Because translating what the other person did differently, ready for this? Energetically and spiritually actually elevates the soul of the other person. So if you look at your child and you think about your child, oh my God, he's so lazy. Because proof is in the pudding. Look, he's lazy. He doesn't do his homework. He doesn't help out at home. He doesn't do anything. You look at your child and say, I'm calling a spade a spade. It's what he is. It's lazy. You know what's going to happen? He's going to continue to be lazy. You know why? Because that's how you think about it. The energy from your thoughts on your child, they're continuously going in the lazy energy. Lazy. You're lazy. But I see he's lazy. Something he's lazy. Oh my God, he's so lazy. She's so cheap. She's so selfish. I keep thinking about her every time I see her. Oh, selfish. Lazy, cheap, right? You see, because you see, you're reading the reality. So we're taught the read on the reality actually gives more energy to the reality that you're seeing. It makes it more of what it is that you're thinking that it is. Our thoughts create the reality that we're seeing in front of us. You want to change reality? Start being done with chasslus. Make up a story. He's not lazy. He's just tired. But really, he's very energetic and he loves to give and he has such a good boy and he has a big heart. Focus on the good, see the good in the person, and you're going to elevate them energetically. All of a sudden, after a week of doing this or a few days of doing this, all of a sudden the guy's not on the couch anymore. All of a sudden he's running out to do something that you asked him to do happily. Why? Because your thoughts on him and the way you see him, the ayin, just like that, there's the ayin hara. Right? What does that mean? That there's energy to the eye. There's energy to the way we look at someone. We don't even have to speak, and there's energy around the way we feel about them. You know that. If somebody doesn't like you, or someone doesn't think so greatly of you, or someone spoke lashon hara about you when you're around them, they don't have to say anything. You feel it.
How do you respond to them?
You don't respond to them. You only respond to yourself, period, in life.
No, like let's say you say like, I'll take out the garbage and says, I don't want to.
Take out the garbage. I don't want to. So that's chinuch. That has nothing to do with this. I'm saying the way you view someone. The way you put it, like, we put labels on people.
We're
right?
in the brain.
What?
We're in the brain. We're focusing on...
In our minds. Oh, she's just, of course she does that. Duh, she'll do that. So her. Right? So that's normal, and that's human. And Rabbi Nachman's teaching us here, see them in a different way, see them in a different light, and that will change their actions. That's going to change the way they act. The way you translate that. Yes?
Is it fine if I say something quick?
Please.
My mom does this like all the time, and I watch it, and I'm so shocked. And I remember this one specific time. We were at like a really packed supermarket, and there was this lady who was online with her cart, like this big, scary lady who was online with her cart, and she went offline to go get more items, I guess, and didn't tell us like, oh, save my spot or anything. So we started going, like we were next. And she came back and she started shrieking, like yelling so loudly and cursing my mother out with every curse word she could find, and yelling and getting up in her face and like pointing, you stupid, like beep, beep, beep. And I was terrified. I was like, oh my goodness, what's now I'm gonna do? And I could see my mom's also like scared, and she didn't say anything at first, and she was like, do I defend? I said, like, I could see she didn't know what to do. And then everyone in the store was like silent and watching like what's gonna happen. So my mother's like, I'm not gonna do anything, but I'm not gonna like leave the store quickly after because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm scared, like not so scared. So whatever.
She's gonna like crip walk at the store.
She like slowly walks out of the store. She like says thank you to the lady. Like nothing changed in her personality at all. And then after when we were getting into the car, my mom was like, actually wait in the car. Like I want to speak to her. And I was like, what do you want to say? You want to like ask her for an apology? And she's like, I actually feel sorry. I've been thinking about it a lot. And this woman must be going through such a hard time in her life. Like there's no way someone could yell like that and be so angry unless something horrible's happening, and I feel so bad for her. So she went up to the lady as she came out of the store. She like waited for her, and she's like, "Hi, excuse me, like, can I talk to you for a minute?" And I was like watching in the car and like rolled down the windows. And she was like, "Look, I know that what I did was wrong, and like I wish I would have waited for your space. I also know that there's no way you could be that angry if it's just that, and I'm sure there's more going on, and like I'm really sorry for you. Do you need a hug?" And she gave the lady a hug, and the lady started sobbing, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, you didn't deserve that." She was like screaming. She was like, "I'm usually not like this. My son's very sick on like a drug overdose, and like again, and like I think I'm gonna lose him, and I just can't. And I hate like." My mom was like, she gave her a hug, and we did have to go, and she was like, "I took, but like here's my number if you need anything. Like, I'm so sorry for you."
Whoa.
I was like, "Oh my god!" And the store manager lady was peering out the window. She came out like after the lady left, and my mom was still in the car with me, and she was like, "That's crazy. Like, what were you talking about? Like, what were you hugging?"
That's crazy. That's Tikkun Olam right there.
Thank you for that example.
That is Tikkun Olam right there. Wow, we do more of those kinds of acts. Mashiach is here. ברמה כזאתי. ממש.
I was like, "I'm never forgetting this." And she was, I was terrified. I hated the lady. I was like, "We have to go hurt her." And my mom said, "No, she's hurting enough."
Your mother is very, very special for being able to put her ego to the side, her hurt ego, because that lady got all up in her face and pointing fingers and all that. That was, I don't know if I would have been able to go, like rise above like that. That's crazy, right? To be able to really remove yourself from the picture and see the person that's harassing you and see them, that's a whole new level. And that's the level of Geula. That's how it's going to be when we're gonna have Mashiach. We're going to have to build that in order to be able to experience that when we have Mashiach. Where it's going to be like, let me think about you before you think about me, which is amazing. Wow, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else have any examples to share? Any above and beyond going? Yeah, it's time that we start creating these examples. It's time that next time the guy in the supermarket yells at you, remember the Chafetz Chaim that used to scream, "Nobody's embarrassed me. No one embarrassed me for a week. Can someone please embarrass me?" Remember the people that walked into the store and asked for bolts and nails because they wanted to be embarrassed, because there is something that happens to our ego every single time we're able to stay quiet when someone punches it, when it's punched down, when we're able to stay quiet, we heal. We heal. And remember, I'm not talking about abusive people, abusive relationships, toxic people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular life. Okay? Any questions? Comments?
I have a question actually. What if, like someone